As you may recall in my previous video, I chose to accept a mission to review the Mission Impossible sequels. Now we're just a week away from Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning for realsies. So prepare yourselves as I review Mission Impossible 3. Becky's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Noel, better known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 2006 action spy flick Mission Impossible 3, released by Paramount, directed by J.J. Abrams in his directorial debut, produced by and starring Tom Cruise back in the role of Agent Ethan Hunt, from a screenplay Abrams co-wrote with Alex Kurtzman and Roberto Orci. Ving Rhames from the previous two films is back, along with Philip Seymour Hoffman, Michelle Monaghan, Billy Crudup, Jonathan Rhys Meyers, Keri Russell, Maggie Q, and Laurence Fishburne. In this film, retired IMF agent and trainer Ethan Hunt is forced to return to active duty to capture elusive arms dealer Owen Davian. Now, this film was released on May 5th, 2006, and of course, well, Cruise was the one who picked Abrams to direct this, who was a fan of his hit series Alias, which that happened to have been canceled that year, but was further delayed due to the production of the film due to his contractual obligations to the latter, and Lost, which debuted the same year, and caused prospective cast additions like Kenneth Branagh, Carrie Ann Moss, and even Scarlett Johansson to depart from the film. This film did well, and most people considered, and critics and some people considered it an improvement over the previous film. Now, if you haven't seen my reviews of the first two films, click on that card. It'll take you to the new Mission Impossible playlist, so that way you can catch what you might have missed, or if you want to see them again if you'd like. Okay, on with the story. Ethan Hunt has retired from IMF field work. He trains, recruits, and has settled down with his fiancée, Nurse Julia Mead, who is unaware of his real job. He is approached by IMF Assistant Director of Operations John Musgrave about a special mission to rescue one of his proteges, Lindsay Ferris, who was captured while investigating arms dealer Owen Davian. Musgrave has already prepared a team for Ethan: Declan Gormley, Zen Lee, and old partner Luther Stickle. The team rescues Lindsay in Berlin and collects two damaged laptops. As they flee, Ethan discovers an explosive pellet implanted in Lindsay's head. Before he can disable it with a defibrillator, it kills her. IMF Director Theodore Bradsell reprimands Ethan and Musgrave. Ethan learns that Lindsay mailed him a postcard before her capture and discovers a magnetic microdot under the stamp. IMF technician Benji Dunn recovers enough data from the laptops to determine Davian will be in Vatican City to obtain a mysterious biological hazard codenamed the Rabbit's Foot. Ethan plans an unofficial mission to capture Davian. Before leaving, he and Julia have an impromptu wedding at her hospital's chapel. The team successfully infiltrates the Vatican and captures Davian. On the return flight to the U.S., Davian is exceedingly calm under Ethan's brutal interrogation. After landing, Ethan learns that Lindsay's microdot contains a warning about Bradsell and Davian. The convoy taking them across the Chesapeake Bay Bridge tunnel is ambushed by mercenaries who extract Davian. Realizing Julia is also in danger, Ethan races to Julia's hospital to discover her already kidnapped. Davian calls Ethan and gives him 48 hours to recover the Rabbit's Foot in exchange for Julia's life. Before he can move, Ethan is apprehended by the IMF and questioned for the loss of Davian. While in the room as part of Ethan's interrogation, Musgrave discreetly mounts that the rabbit's foot is located in Shanghai and assists Ethan in escaping. Ethan travels to Shanghai and meets his team, who Musgrave sent there under the guise of another operation. Ethan obtains the rabbit's foot and delivers it to Davian, who tranquilizes him and implants in his head a micro explosive similar to the one that killed Lindsay. Now for the ending. As always, you know the procedure. You have 5 seconds to stop this video. Go to the description box below. Fast forward to the time below. As I count down, if you've seen the movie already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. After the operation, Ethan sees Davian holding Julia at gunpoint. Despite Ethan asserting that he brought the real rabbit's foot, Davian shoots Julia and leaves. Musgrave arrives and reveals himself as the actual IMF traitor. He explains that Julia is still alive and that Davian disguised his translator as Ethan's wife for failing to protect him in the Vatican and shot her dead. The ruse was to confirm the authenticity of the rabbit's foot. Musgrave was working with Davian to obtain the rabbit's foot so that IMF would have cause to launch a preemptive strike against the terrorists Davian works for. Ethan knocks Musgrave unconscious, frees himself, and uses Musgrave's phone to obtain Julia's location. With help from Benji, Ethan locates Julia but encounters Davian, who arms the explosive in Ethan's head. Ethan fights and kills Davian before freeing Julia. He jury-rigs an impromptu defibrillator to deactivate the explosive, telling Julia to bring him back and teaching her how to shoot a gun. Julia kills a henchman, then Musgrave, who is carrying the rabbit's foot, before resuscitating Ethan, who finally explains his IMF career to her. Back in the US, Brazil and the others congratulate Ethan as he leaves for his honeymoon with Julia. End of story. So what did I think of Mission Impossible 2? 3. I already did 2. Sorry, my apologies. My thoughts on Mission Impossible 3, well, I like it a bit. It's one of my least favorites, unfortunately, of the franchise, and I appreciate it. It does have some pretty good, well, it does have good pacing and what have you, and a few good stunts and what have you. Some that I didn't think were almost not quite as good as the last film, but they managed to pull off a few good ones, though. But anyway, I can't decide where if it's my least favorite or second least favorite. That and the original are kind of the bottom two for me. But anyway, I've only seen this maybe twice. So the film's okay and is fine and what have you. The film currently sits at 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it would be my second least favorite. Anyway, according to Rotten Tomatoes, they say fast-paced with eye-popping stunts and special effects, this latest installment of MI delivers everything an action fan could ask for, a thrilling summer popcorn flick. Well, I am going to say I do say it's pretty good and what have you. I mean, it did have a few good, cool stunts and what have you. Now, on Ebert and Roper gave the film a thumbs up while Ebert gave it a marginal thumbs down. In Ebert's print review, he gave the film 2.5 stars out of 4, saying, either you want to see mindless action and computer-generated sequences executed with breakneck speed and technical precision, or you do not. I am getting to the point where I don't much care, and he felt surprised that the plot hangs together more than in the other two films. True. Entertainment Weekly says the film is a gratifyingly clever booby-trap thriller that has enough fun and imagination and dash to more than to justify its existence. But anyway, I do still say it's still pretty good and what have you. So I probably would find this to be the second least favorite of mine, but I do have a little bit of a like for it. It did All right, have you? But it's the lowest grossing film of the series of them all, with making only 398 million worldwide, considering it opened in over 4,000 theaters throughout the U.S. Now then, but anyway, now for our cast, Tom Cruise returns as Ethan Hunt. He's still pretty good, and Ving Rhames is back as Luther Stickle. He's good too. Now the for the rest of the cast, we've got some pretty good ones. We do have the late great Philip Seymour Hoffman playing Davian. I'm gonna say he was pretty good. Yes, yeah, I will say I think he's a pretty cool villain and what have you. Michelle Monaghan plays Julia. She's good. Maggie Q, who would later go on to achieve fame on TV's Nikita later on, played Zen, and I'm saying she was very good. Jonathan Rhys Meyers played Declan Gormley. He wasn't too bad. Billy Crudup played John Musgrave. He's well, not too bad. Keri Russell played Lindsay Ferris, and Laurence Fishburne played Theodore Brassel. He wasn't too bad. And one of the co-stars is Simon Pegg, who of course would do well. I believe after he did Shaun of the Dead a couple of years before, and then the following year he would do Hot Fuzz, and of course he played Sky in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek films. He plays Benjamin Dunn, or Benji. This, of course, would be the first film we would be introduced to, well, to this character. We would see more of him in the next three films, which would come out 5 years later with Ghost Protocol, which this film would be a big redemption. Now, I don't hate Mission Impossible 3. I just feel like it just, well, I just feel like it just didn't catch on with me much. But I do think it does have some good pacing and stunts and what from what I've seen. The cast isn't too bad here. Michael Giacchino does the score for the film, and it's not too bad either. But that kind of brings me to another slight bit of a nitpick I have with the film, and it's oh boy, you're gonna probably hate me for saying this guy's name, Kanye West, which of course this was right about the time he actually made it, when he did this. He a couple of songs there. He produced the film's version of the Mission Impossible theme, which you hear on the last bit of the end credits, and also performs a song called Impossible, which was fine. Just I didn't care for it much. Believe me, as I liked the songs from the first, well, what I heard in the first film, and the two great songs heard in the end of the previous film. But anyway, nevertheless, Mission Impossible 3, it's not too bad. But would I recommend it? Well, I'd say sure, go ahead. I'd say a one-time watch if you're a hardcore completionist of this series and what have you. It's only my second time of seeing the film. Oh, no, wait a minute. I think it was my third time. I might be wrong, but that's been a long time since I last saw this one. But anyway, Mission Impossible 3, I don't hate it. It's just that I feel like it just didn't have enough to get me entertained too much. But I still liked the pacing and the action theme stunts, and well, you get the point, all right? So what did you think of Mission Impossible 3? Let me know in the comment section below. If you liked the video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me next time when I bring to you my review of License to Drive. So if you like this, consider checking out my reviews for these other films. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of the 2003 remake of The Italian Job, The upper right-hand corner is my review of another film from 2006, another sequel, and that was The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. Or if you would like some more Tom Cruise, go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my spoiler-free review of his monster hit from last year, Top Gun Maverick. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.